I'm not going to get any good presents this year. Good Christ. Santa's a jerk. Santa's not a jerk. I love Christmas. The Grinch was right. Fuck Christmas. Peace on Earth. Dude, let's eat Rudolph.
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. How are you folks? I'm good. I'm doing well. Our friend Lily is here. Say hi to Lily.
Hi.
No, you don't have to say hi to Lily. They have to say hi to you in their cars. Because, again, I want this to be like, my show is like Sesame Street. That's what I want it to be. It's a podcast, but I want it to be like Sesame Street because when I was a kid and I would watch Sesame Street and Grover would ask me questions, I would talk to Grover. I mean, this might explain quite a bit about why I don't mind talking into space every week to nobody, but I would do that. I would sit there, and sadly, this continues to this day. I think I've told you folks that. I'll be in the car, and a guy will come on the radio, and he'll go, "Do you have credit problems?" And I'll go, "No," because I think it's imperative that I get that out into the ether. Apparently, somebody needs to know that I wouldn't let this guy bully me in my own car and ask me questions and I wouldn't fucking answer him. Who does he think he is coming after me with that tone of voice? EasyCredit.com or whatever the fuck you are. Get off. And quite frankly, you shouldn't even be on my radio because I pay for the privilege of XM radio. And I'll tell you what, folks. There are commercials all over XM and Sirius Radio. If you're thinking about getting satellite radio, I'm 80-20 on it. Okay, 80% of me says get it because you can always push a button and find something else to listen to. All right, I think I've told you this. And they have Hair Nation. And if you don't like what's at Hair Nation, you can go right to the Boneyard. Boom, Saved by the Boneyard. Same deal, you know. And also you can go to Classic Vinyl. And if you don't like what's on Classic Vinyl, you can go right over to Deep Tracks. It's the same fucking station. I don't know why they did that. That's how they get you at XM. They blizzard you with like 100 stations, but literally there's only 4 different types of content. I mean, it's insane. It's just all different structures of metal. There's a crazy metal station. And oh my God, by the way, speaking of that, folks, if anybody wants to know what to get me for Christmas, if you're out there thinking to yourselves, God, what can we get Mike? Here's what you get me. You get me tickets to Europe. First of all, that seems high, all right? And also, that seems weird to say that's first of all. That makes no sense at all. You know what? I guess maybe you don't have to give me this entire package. If you got me part of this, it would be fantastic, and I would take care of the rest. Like, say if you bought me passage to Europe, then I guess I would get a hotel, and I would go get the tickets to the show I want to see. Folks, I don't even know this is a good show for me to see, because it's Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax are actually playing together in Europe. And I don't know if my fists are ready for that show. I got to be honest with you. I don't know if I can go to Europe and watch that show and all of a sudden don we now are moshing apparel because I would have to be over there. And again, I'm 42. You don't want some old man with gray hair in the pit because I'm a target. I'm a target for all the real metalheads. Although, because it is older metal bands, maybe I would be just like in an old mosh pit. How weird would that be? Just like this weird old man mosh pit with gray hair and just you start slamming in one another like, ah, my back. You know what I mean? That would be perfect. Actually, quite frankly, I'm in. But when I heard yesterday that Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, and Megadeth were touring, I was like, dude, fuck it. I'm in. I hope they play here in America. If they play here in America, then there will be, first of all, listen for when they're playing here in America, then see for when they're playing here in Los Angeles, and then realize that week there won't be a show because I will either have all of my teeth knocked out of my head or I will be in jail unable to raise bail because I will be at that show moshing like a psychopath, and which is not good. That's not good for anybody, folks. I've done that. I've moshed. Did I tell a story about Glenn, my brother Glenn, when his moshing extravaganza? My brother's I swear to God I did. When he's antisocial, I told that story. All right, my brother Glenn, he's a well-adjusted young man. He's got family and friends. But when he was younger, he liked things to be different. I didn't want to cast aspersions, but he was fucking crazy. I mean, we're all crazy. My whole family's crazy. I don't talk to any of them. That's how crazy we are. We just had this like summit meeting. We went, fuck it. We're all crazy. That's it. We're done because we can't blend our crazy. It's actually for the good of the world that the 5 of us don't get along anymore, because just the general electricity, charged between us. If we went together for the holidays, it's like nuclear fusion. If the five of us ever got together again with my mom for the holidays, holy God, there would be an explosion and a crater wherever we were. I mean, it wouldn't, wherever we were would be destroyed and leveled. It would be fucking flattened because inevitably somebody would say, hey, pass the cranberries. And then the next thing you know, we're all climbing the buildings like, the gorilla and the lizard in Rampage, the video game, and we're smashing buildings and we're eating random bananas and passerby. All right, so, yeah, so you don't want that. So what was I talking about? Glenn. Glenn is Glenn was he told me one time he had like this philosophy of moshing, and he was telling me, he was breaking it down for me, and he goes like literally as if you were talking to a businessman. My little brother goes, well, the thing is, I'm antisocial. I'd like to mosh against the flow. So, and he's breaking it down like he needed a chalkboard. Quite frankly, he needed a diagram it for me, but I knew what it meant. He was one of those jagoffs who like to run into the mosh. When you get into a mosh, folks, generally the mosh will go, I'm going to say counterclockwise, okay? And it's everybody's kind of banging into one another, but it's still a mosh pit, and there's still a general amount of, camaraderie and rules. Well, my brother Glenn, he enjoyed going into the teeth of the mosh. Like he would just lower his head and be like, and he would just fucking bully boy his way through everybody. So he's going clockwise while everybody else is going counterclockwise. And he's a big dude. And so he's got elbows flying and his fucking, that's what you do. You get into the mosh and he would just kick his big boots and fucking arms and do damage to everyone within a 5-mile radius. One time he was so antisocial, he moshed against the flow. Because this is the thing, he would do it. And when you're in a mosh pit, folks, if you've never been in a mosh pit, it's like, you know what it is? It's a it's a physical, actual form. It's a tangible form of this podcast. That's what a mosh pit is. My podcast is a verbal mosh pit because it's just me pinwheeling around. You don't know where the fuck I'm going to wind up, and I generally have no idea when it's going to end or start. And also, not unlike a mosh pit, I will sit here with my head down for maybe 15 minutes trying to figure out what to do, and then I'll go, let's do it. And then Lily will just point at me, and then I start and then the mosh starts. So this is a verbal version of a mosh pit. A tangible version, if you've never been in one, I recommend you do it. I go to a show and just hop in once, just to fucking see what it's like. Because honestly, you're not going to find my brother at every goddamn show, so it's going to be fun. And I know it seems like it wouldn't be fun, but a mosh pit is fucking great fun. It's so much fun that when I was bouncing at the House of Blues once, there's there was a mosh pit in the floor. I fucking ran into it. I just fucking ran in and just ping-ponged around everybody. And then there was one guy who was being an asshole, and it was great because I got to fucking kick him right in the side of the knee and put him on the ground and then drag him out of the goddamn building. That was fun. Because in the mosh is supposed to be fun. I mean, that's the whole deal. It's like, sure, you're getting out your aggressions and all that shit, but if somebody falls, there's etiquette. You fucking pick them up, all right? But I've been to shows where there's just this guy. So this guy was a big dude, and he was looking for little people to run into, and this is the reason why I jumped in, okay, in the mosh pit, because he was taking out all these little guys, and I'm like, dude, that's not fucking good. So I'm just waiting, and then he comes back around, and I said, fuck it. I got right into the mosh pit, and I was going around, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go antisocial. I'm going to go against the flow. I'm going to take my brother's goddamn advice. So sure enough, this guy, I got kind of ahead of him, and then I turned around and I went right at him, and he kind of he thought he was going to elbow me, thought he was going to be cute, and I side kicked him right in the fucking knee, dropped him, and then me and a couple guys dragged him right out of the goddamn building. It was awesome. All right, so that was, it probably wasn't awesome. It probably was something I should not have done, but at the time, because again, he was fucking up little guys. If anything, I defend the little guys. That's who I am. I'm a defender of the little man. All right. So my brother, he's like antisocial, he moshes against the flow. At the end of the song, he's like, yay! And then he goes in the bathroom, and because he said he felt like, you get adrenaline going, you don't really think about it. He goes in the bathroom, his lower lip his teeth are through it. Like he looks in the mirror, he's just like, oh, because his lower lip was impaled on his teeth, like his teeth were sticking through, and blood all over his face. He looked like Andrew WK's album cover. That's what he looked like, but with teeth coming through his lip. And that's that's what happens when you're antisocial. So he went up doing his mosh, and that was fun. All right, so that's why we can't get together, I guess is what I'm saying, for the holidays. I'm not going home. I'm going to be here for Christmas. So what are you guys doing? How about? I'm looking for invitations. Anybody want to hang out? How weird and awful would that be? Honestly, like, you guys don't really know me. You just hear me in your earbuds, and a lot of you, let's face it, I'm going to say this show breaks down about 70-30. 30% really enjoy me. 70% are bemused and don't know how the fuck I exist. So I don't think that 70% will invite me to Christmas dinner. But you never know. Who knows? Folks, I've thrown it out there. I've already been told by Lily in no uncertain terms that we will not be together, which is fine. I completely understand that. She's got her tree up now, and oh, dude, we have a tree. We went and bought trees together. Lily and I, my wife and I and Lily all went and bought our trees at the same time. So we were at Home Depot, and there were trees that were like $25. And there's certain bins, some trees are like $80, some trees are like $150. Well, we went to the $25 bin, and they look like nice trees or whatever. And Lily's like, you know what? I just want one of those. I said, okay, cool. So she grabbed it, and then I told my wife, I was like, well, let's get that. We'll get a $25 tree. And she's looking at it, and my wife goes through this incredible, circuitous test of trees. I didn't know that there was this arduous Olympic level testing of the Christmas tree to make sure that it was. I mean, if it's green and it's got pine needles and branches and it's got a pointy top for the fucking star, you're in, right? Don't you have a Christmas tree at that point? Nope. No, I found out there's a whole fucking pinwheel you got to do, and my wife, she's reaching inside, like she reaches all the way to the core, like to the trunk, and she shakes the tree, and then she's sliding her hand on the branches. She's like, look, no needles are coming off. This one's good. Oh, I don't like this one. There's like kind of a bare spot here. Of course, I just wanted to get a tree, okay? Because, the thing is, my wife loves Christmas, and I love Christmas because my wife loves Christmas. It makes her happy. So I'm all for letting her do whatever she wants to do. I will watch It's a Wonderful Life every night. She loves Christmas Vacation, all of those different things. She loves to go. We've already driven out and looked at, lights and I'm all for that. That's great. I love it because my wife loves it. But when it came time to the tree, like she just, she put on like these rubber gloves and a fucking surgical mask. And, I've got to hold it, and she's like, spin it around. Well, dude, I got to be honest with you. If you're buying a tree on the hopes of it spinning around at the house, you've got much grander plans than I do. I didn't know we were buying a rotating fucking tree thing. I thought it just went in water and you were fine. Every year we go out of town. That's the thing, is we usually leave around like the 20th. So getting a tree is kind of silly because we'll get a tree, and then by the time we leave, we're out of town for Christmas, and we come home on the 2nd of January and just got to throw it away. So we usually get a smaller tree or something like that. But this year we were going to be home, so my wife's like, I want a big tree, a decent-sized tree. So that's fine. We go and we look at the $20 tree bin, and then, my wife apparently has to call PBS and get some arboretum guy on the phone. She has a scientist come over, and he does a litmus test where he presses a piece of paper against the pine needles to see the toxicity. I don't know what the fuck she had going on. But suffice it to say, the $25 tree, not going to be good enough. What a shock! Gee, what a surprise. There were 3 $25 trees left, and the guy was like, we're getting a lot more in the morning. And Karen's like, well, I don't want to wait. We're here now. And I go, there's another Home Depot by our house. We can go there and see if they've got more $25 trees, because guess what? This isn't the only place they sell Christmas trees. And so I was giving her every opportunity to just say, you know what, let's look a different place. But nope, she went over to the $50 bin. And she starts looking at the $50 trees, and I'm just like, oh, really? Come on. So again, same thing. I've got to hold it up. I've got to bend it down. I've got to see how tall it is. I've got to spin it around. She's reaching in. She's pulling needles off. She's like smelling it. And then she's like a tracker from the Old West. Like, she actually pulls needles off, and then she just kind of rubs them through her fingers and lets them fall to the ground, and then like looks aside, and then like puts her ear to the ground to hear for Indians. I don't know what the fuck she's doing, but suffice it to say, it is a lot more involved than I thought it was going to be. Okay? Again, branches, pointy top, smells nice, done. Christmas tree. So finally, she goes over to the $40 bin. She literally doesn't see anything she likes at the $50 bin. So in my head, I'm like, really? We're going to the $75 bin now? But to her credit, she went over to the $40 bin, and there was a big tree. I mean, it was like, it's an 8-foot tree, okay? And she's like, oh, hold this one up. So again, I hold it up, I fucking spin it, I dip it. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I'm on Dancing with the Trees. That's what I'm on right now. I had to put on some sequins and some rouge, and I give it a nice dip. I spin it. She goes and smells it. She hugs it. Whatever the fuck she's got to do, and she's like, "This is the tree that I want." I go, "You're sure this is the tree that you want?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "This is an 8-foot tree. I mean, you do realize. I mean, it's we live in a 1-bedroom apartment." And she's like, "Oh, it's so gorgeous." And it's like, "Look, it passed every test. It's got, she's got her clipboard out. She's got her fucking visor on. She's got her adding machine. She's, hitting buttons for no reason. Just making that noise. And which is what I'm doing in my head as the price of the tree goes up because you got to buy the tree and you got to buy the stand, folks. I'm sure you're aware of that. Again, you can't just lean the tree against the wall when you get home. I wish you could. Wouldn't that be great if you just brought the tree and just threw it in the corner? It just leaned there. No, you got to buy a tree stand. And so my wife is like, "This is the one I want." I said, "All right." So we take it over to the guy. He does the trim job on the bottom of it. Meanwhile, Lily's picking out her tree stand, and she's got her tree, and she's all wrapped up. She's ready to go. She's which is great. And then, of course, we go to check out, and Karen's like, "Oh, I need a wreath." What? Here's the thing. You bought an 8-foot tree. Why don't we cut a foot off of that and just tie it in a circle? Could we do that? That would be to all of our benefit if you were to just go ahead and fucking take care of it that way. She's like, "No, I need a wreath." And I have a thing, folks. I don't know what it is. I smell better than other people. Like, I don't know if I'm Daredevil or what the hell it is. It's funny. My friend Brian Noonan has no sense of smell. I don't know why. I don't know if it's some... you know why? He was moshing against the flow. And my brother bashed his fucking skull into Brian's face. Forget about it. Sense of smell, gone. So, sure enough, how did I come up on the moshing? There was some reason I was talking about it. Oh, my God, because of Slayer all right, I'll get to that in a minute. So Karen's like, "I need a wreath." And look, to me, pine smells like pine. Sometimes. But sometimes I get a very strong cat urine smell from pine trees and wreaths, mainly wreaths. I don't know why. Maybe it's me. Maybe I don't smell better than people. Maybe I just have a more fertile imagination, and so I'm able to pull smells out of the air. By the way, that's a retake. I said furtive imagination a second ago. All right. I was so mad at myself. I go, "Who says furtive?" Because again, folks, moshing. My head is moshing. I'm in the mosh pit. You gotta adapt. You gotta adjust. You don't know what's gonna happen. You're on the fly. So I was like, fuck it. I can't say furtive. I want to say fertile, which is what I'm supposed to say. And then I tell you anyway that I said furtive because I'm dumb. Okay? Because I feel the need apparently to tell you everything that I could possibly tell you. I just, this is again why the show's an hour and 20 fucking 5 minutes long. One guy talking into space. Verbal mosh pit. All right. So my wife's like, "I gotta get a wreath." And I'm like, "Oh, dude." Again, I came there for a $25 tree. Now we've got the $40 tree. She's got to get the stand. She goes to pick out a wreath, and she brings the wreath over, and I get this incredibly intense smell of cat piss. And I go, "Whoa." I go, "You got to pick another one." She said, "Why?" I go, "You don't smell that?" She goes, "Yeah, it smells like Christmas." And I go, "I don't think cat piss smells like Christmas." She's like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "I smell cat urine in that wreath. I mean, I don't know, because it's outdoors." So now I'm thinking that like a wildebeest or a badger came by and fucking wailed on it. And I says, "Change it up. There's got to be a different one that smells better." She goes, "You're crazy. This one smells fine." And then Lily was the deciding vote, and you said it smelled nice. Thanks. Lily's like, "No, it's fine." But now, literally just now, as I was taking a break a second ago, Lily goes, "You know what? You're right. There's a very thin line between pine smell and cat urine." Great. Where were you a week ago? Firmly in my wife's corner. Because you know why? Because you were so happy to just be getting your tree. You were so excited. You're just like, "This is great. Everything's great. I think everything's great. It smells nice." But wait, whatever. All right, so... It's pointless. So now my wife wants a wreath. So now I'm like, "All right, fine, get a wreath, I guess." And so she gets a wreath. You're not just getting a $25 tree. We get a stand, we get a tree, my wife gets a wreath, and then you go to check out, and they're like, "Hey, you got to buy that sauce." I'm like, "What sauce?" There's like a sauce you got to buy for your tree so it doesn't die. And first of all, they see us coming, all right? They absolutely see us coming, that they're peddling tree sauce. I mean, come on, nobody buys the tree sauce, right? But they said, "No, sure enough, everybody I see walk up, the other people don't even ask. Like, I guess they're conditioned to buy tree sauce. But I'm like, I I didn't realize. So now, again, that's another fucking $10 or whatever the hell it was. So we walked out. I think it cost me $1,000 to get a goddamn Christmas tree. Christmas tree, stand, wreath, tree sauce. Horrible. So then we got to put it. Then we got to put it in the car. Okay, and I'm helping Lily. We're bringing hers to her house as well. And I will tell you this: they wrapped the trees up in some weird like saran net. So this my 8-foot tree all of a sudden it looked like a baseball bat. I mean, it's like that skinny because they put this weird net on it. They squeeze it all up. So I'm like, oh, okay. So then we got to put them both on top of my car. Now I don't know dick about putting anything on my car. So as I'm standing there, Mexican guy comes up to me and he's like, "You want deliver tree?" He didn't exactly talk like that. I don't know what accent that was. You want to deliver tree? It was horrible. I'm bad at voices. So he's like, "Hey, you want deliver tree?" And I'm like, "What? Well, how?" And he's like, "I have truck." Again, why do I do his voice? Because he was very quiet. He's, "I have truck. I bring tree to house." So I think you folks know enough about me to know that I'm always hoping to get out of work. And I don't know the first fucking thing about tying trees to my car. So I'm like, hey, yeah, I should probably have that guy deliver the trees to my house. So I go over to Lily and Karen and I go, hey, there's like a Mexican dude and he's willing to deliver the trees to our houses. And what do you think? And Karen's like, come on, we can just tie it to the car. And Lily goes, well, the thing you got to worry about is you don't even know if that guy's going to show up. I said, what? She's like, you just got to hope he doesn't take off with your trees. Really? Is that happening? Is that... I mean, I didn't know that the Mexican guy stays at Home Depot all day long hoping to trick someone into giving him 2 free trees. Really? I don't know if you heard. He has truck. He's not going to steal tree. He delivers to a house. But Lily, apparently, ever vigilant, just fucking Adam Walshes it and is like, no, I'm sorry. I refuse to give this guy $10 because he's going to steal the goddamn tree. Because Lily does not like Mexican people. That's it. Lily hates immigrants. She wants to make sure that they don't earn a living. She thinks that they're all, you know what she thinks they are? Banditos. That's what she thinks. She thinks they all eat Fritos and they're all banditos. That's how she feels about them. So she thinks these dudes are just going to steal our trees. I'm like, well, I guess I'm glad Lily's here because she saw through their scam that they run every Christmas where they steal trees. I picture them having I'm sure if I'm driving someday I'll see like an empty lot, but with just like a handwritten sign, El Tree Farm. And that's what they do. They like steal the trees and they bring them over to El Tree Farm in truck. And they sell the contraband trees. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, all right, look, I already got rooked on. And again, I guess I should have been looking out for that scam because I already got rooked on tree sauce. You know what I mean? So as far as I'm concerned, I've already been raped at this fucking tree lot. I couldn't care less if fucking Juan Valdez absconds with my trees. Who cares? All right. So, but thank God Lily was on the case. So we avoided that. So Lily's like, I will go ahead and tie it to the roof of the car. And I'm like, sir, well, great. Why don't I just hand you my cock? You want to wear that while you're doing it as I stand by and watch? Because I am completely emasculated at this point. You know who I am, folks? I'm a credit card. That's all I was on this trip. The ladies, and I'm the tree spinner. I'm dancing with the trees and I'm paying. That's it. I'm the spinner and I'm the sauce buyer. That's who I am. And I drove. So, and Lily and Karen are frolicking. They're talking to elves. They're ringing bells. They're doing, it's 'tis the season, folks. So, they're going to put the stuff on the car. Over comes the Home Depot guy. And I'll tell you this about the guy. Nice kid. He's wearing a Dodger hat, but he has a piece of black tape over the LA on Dodgers. And I said to him, I go, did they make you cover up the logo, so the Dodgers don't sue you? He goes, no, they don't want anybody flying colors here because, a gang fight might break out. So then I'm thinking maybe it's the tree bandits. Maybe those guys are just waiting to see a glimpse of the LA and then there's a fucking spray down. It's a Christmas tree lot. No gang fight is going to break out. What ridiculous? You know what? I'm waiting for John McClane to rappel in off the fucking ceiling. Please. So I was stunned. So now I got to worry about that. Now I got to worry about a drive-by while I'm putting while these two ladies are putting trees on my car as I stand around with my thumb up my ass. And I don't have any rope, but the guy's like, hey, I got twine. So get this. So the guy I go, you need help? He's like, no. So I'm useless, folks. I'm standing to the side. My ass still hurts from getting raped by tree sauce purchase. And they're putting the trees up on top of my car, and this guy does it himself. He puts them both up there. And then Lily goes, all right, I'll take care of this. And she starts tying the most intricate, unbelievable knots. It looks amazing. Like she somehow cat's cradles these trees to the top of my car. And she's doing it's amazing. Her and Karen, Karen's grabbing it on the other end and sliding it through. And Lily's like, slide it through, throw it over, slide it through, go over here, tie it here. She looks at me and she goes, you know what? There's going to be two big knots that are the main knots. You're going to want to cut those loose. And once you do, everything's going to be fine. It's all going to come right off. Okay. Fantastic. Should I get somebody some punch? I think someone would like, because first of all, I'm going to go ahead and change into my dress. And so I'm standing there and Lily, now this guy, the Home Depot guy, we're just standing there watching the girls go to work. They're tying everything to the car. And Lily turns around, again, because Lily has no filter whatsoever. And she turns around and she goes, you know what? Thank God I've been so good at bondage all these years. I know how to tie these knots. And not kidding, folks. She's like a bondage person, which I think I've told you that in the past. But she's like, boy, it came in handy being good at bondage all those years. And fucking Home Depot looks at me, and I look at him, and I'm just like, I wish she was kidding. So then I realize as the two women tie the tree to the top of the thing, and she mentions how good they are at bondage, I look like their slave. I'm their sub, and they're my doms. And they made me take them for trees. And that's why I bought tree sauce. It's all part of my punishment, folks. It's all part of my training. I've got my crazy, I've got my cock lock on. I've got like a chastity belt. And my two doms took me out and raped me. They humiliated me at the tree lot. It was all part of my training. They made me spin a tree around. They made me pick them out and go, I'm sitting there with my hands in my pockets. I had to go talk to the crazy. That's why I was so excited about the Mexican guy delivering the trees, because it got me out of training for 5 seconds. And they're like, no, you will do what we say. I was kept in my place. The two of them are just leading me around by the cock, and I'm bent over a sawhorse as they tie trees up and fuck me with tree sauce. God damn it, I'm a pussy. And the guy just looks at me just like, and with this man-to-man empathy in his eyes. You know what I mean? Just as the two women are tying trees up and they're talking about stopping and buying a wreath and where does this go? And he just looks at me like, man, you know what? I live in constant peril of getting shot by gang members, and still I have a better life than you do.
Hello, podcast enthusiast. This is Brian Noonan, and you're listening to my good friend Mike Schmidt bust out some nonsense on the 40-year-old boy on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network. And of course, by good friend, I mean professional acquaintance who can afford my talent fee.
He drops his sleigh like no one else. His name is Santa, and he lives with elves.
Sluggy Records is proud to present a very 80s Christmas. All your holiday favorites performed by Cameo, Poison, and this classic by Soft Cell.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm and all is bright. Round young virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild. Silent night, silent night. Decorate the house, hang lights, plug in the baby Jesus, cool manger. Where is my waving Santa? 365 light bulbs. Decorate the house. We sleep, we will
Baby's Christmas is not available in stores. Call 1-800-867-5309 to order. And now back to the 40-year-old boy.
So Betty Page and Dita Von Teese finally get the trees secured to the top of my car. And now we've got to drive to Lily's house and drop her tree off first. And so, I start the car, back out, and I go to leave the Home Depot lot, and I just see the immigrant guy who offered to take the tree sadly leaning up against his truck, hands thrust deep into his pockets. Oh, it looks like no more food on the table tonight. That's what I think he's thinking, because again, I'm the fucking girl in this relationship. Lily's just like, yeah, look at that guy. He's probably sad that he couldn't steal your trees, dick. She's like, ha, we thwarted him. And I'm just like, please don't talk so loudly. So we're driving, and then we got to drive through Hollywood to get the tree to Lily's house. So that's not a problem. And she calls the clown. He comes out, and he takes the tree off, and I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do with the knots. Because, again, folks, I know nothing at all about bondage. And she's like, no, it's just because she tied them separately. That's the thing, is she's like magic. She went ahead and tied. You ever see those magicians when they tie the knot and they cut the rope and then the rope's the same size? And she knew all that. All her Tuesday nights at the Magic Castle have paid off. So she's like, all right, you just got to cut this knot, and then my tree will just come right off. So the clown comes out, she takes her tree, and we got to get back to my house. So to get to my house, you got to take the freeway. Now, I've got I have an 8-foot tree on the top. You know what? I have an 8-foot tree on top of my car, and I got to get on the freeway. I look like the Grinch's sleigh. When the Grinch stole all the Who stuff, and then he's like moving really fast, and the dog's pulling it, and it's just, there's a tree sticking out of the top. That's what my fucking Murano looks like. It looks like the Grinch's sleigh. So I said to Karen, because all right, here's a window into me. I can't make a fucking decision to save my life, because I don't want the consequences of that decision riding on whatever I chose. I don't choose a particular. When Karen and I go out to eat, it's always, where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Because we're goofs, because we don't want to go there, and then it's not good, and then you have to go, and the other person gets to go, I told you we shouldn't come here. It's this never-ending battle we have where neither of us, we're always on fucking eggshells because we don't want to make a decision, because then the other person will get to go, good call. I mean, it's just this horrible. It just happened this week. We were trying to figure out where to go eat, and Karen wants to go to Thai barbecue. It's this Thai joint because she wants pad Thai, and they have like a barbecued chicken meal that I always get there. But, they have another meal too, whatever. So I go, all right. I go, do you want to go to Thai barbecue? She goes, oh, I would love it. Let's go. So we go there. We order the food, and we get the pad Thai, and then she gets chicken satay with a peanut sauce. All of her food's really good. They bring me my chicken dinner. It looks like they cooked it in a kiln. I mean, it's so fucking. The bones are black. You know what I mean? Honestly, it looks like they prepared my chicken with a nuclear bomb. I fully expected to see the shadow of my chicken on the wall in the kitchen when I was going to go in there. It was so burnt and so fucking destroyed. How bad was it? It was so bad, I could just, without any effort, I could snap the chicken leg bone. You know what I mean? That kind of burnt. And I ate like 2 bites of it, and I'm like, oh, awful. But at the same time, great, because I win the guilt derby. And I can put my chicken to the side, and Karen goes, oh, what, it's not good? And I go, no, because it was all dried out. It tasted like a shoe. I mean, it was so bad, because God knows I know what a shoe tastes like. But it had that consistency. It was just so terrible. It was like eating a phone book. It was like dry and just, again, I've never eaten a phone book. What the fuck? I don't know why these analogies. Why can't I think of other food it tasted like? Why can't I do that? Nobody eats inanimate objects. These are the stupidest analogies of all time. All right. So, but sure enough, I got to put my chicken to the side and just stare at Karen as she ate her delicious chicken satay. I bet that's good. I wish I had a dinner. I'm a jerk. I'm not that bad, okay, because it came with shrimp fried rice and I was able to eat that. And then she shared her chicken satay with me. And she's like, are you sending that back? And I go, nah, because it didn't make any sense to send it back, because it's chicken that just got the shit beat out of it. I mean, it's like literally, what are they going to do? Because I was already eating the shrimp fried rice. I'd eaten most of it. And normally I don't mind sending something back. I'll do that. I'm a guy who doesn't, it doesn't bother me to do that. I don't worry about them spitting in the food or whatever, because I try to be as polite as possible. But at the same time, if you fuck it up, I want it fixed. But I was already eating shrimp fried rice and her chicken satay. I should have sent it back to get the credit, but what the fuck, who cares? I didn't. And plus I was reveling in guilt. So I was able to just leave that horrible dried out chicken. So then here's what my wife does. My wife goes, let me try it. So she takes the chicken breast and she tears off hunks and then she mixes it in the pad thai. She goes, that's going to rejuvenate the chicken. I said, what? She goes, it's going to revive the chicken. You watch. She buried it under mountains of pad thai. And I'm refusing to let any good come of this situation. I'm like, oh, good, I hope you like it. That's fine. I didn't get any dinner because I'm fat. Terrible. No one cares. But sure enough, she mixes the pad thai up, and then she eats some of her chicken satay, and she's eating her rice. And then she digs through the pad thai and pulls out the chicken and eats it. She goes, delicious. Then she takes the chicken thigh, because it's a half a chicken. She whacks it all up. She doesn't touch the chicken leg, of course, because I don't know if I've pointed out the fact that they imported it from Hiroshima. But seriously, I didn't order the Nagasaki chicken. Could you take this back? I should have said that. I should have just said that. Would have been funny for all involved, because there's nothing that Asian people like more than to be reminded of the only country that's ever used nuclear bombs in a war on another country. God knows they would love. And the only thing better is if I were to go to a sushi restaurant and just keep talking about Pearl Harbor to the chef. That's what I would do. I should have gone on December 7th. That's what I should have done. I should have gone for sushi and said, hey, do we eat free? Because, don't you fucking owe us? Because then, honestly, they don't. Because they could pull Hiroshima and Nagasaki out of their ass. So I guess maybe in August I'll go. What if I went on Hiroshima Day and I was just like, hey, I celebrated by ordering sake. All right, never mind. I won't do that. How terrible. How rude would that be? But that's what I should have done. I should have sent it back and said, hey, I didn't want the Nagasaki chicken. And believe me, spit in my food. At that point, they would have found a fucking uranium thing to put in my goddamn food. If I'm that much of a jag-off. But sure enough, that's what happened. We wound up, Karen rejuvenated the chicken and enjoyed it, but I got to win the guilt derby. So that's who I am. How did I get into this? I spiraled there from, so I was talking about driving. Yeah, Grinch. Oh, I don't make decisions. I don't make any fucking decisions. That's just because I refuse. That's the whole deal. It's like neither one of us wants to have that on our conscience because, dude, my wife is, again, she was made a best of a bad situation when she rejuvenated the chicken. That's fine. We went to McDonald's the other day. She wanted to go to McDonald's because the McRib is back and she's a fan. And by she's a fan, I mean, of course, I would eat 10 of them. What the fuck am I blaming it on her for? Literally, we went out the other night and bought dinner. We're driving home. There was a billboard that said McRib is back. She's like, oh my God. And I'm like, what? She's like, the McRib. And I go, you have you have literally food at your feet, like in a bag. It's hot. We need to get home. She's like, oh, but and I go, all right, fine. So sure enough, we went to McDonald's. I had a bag of food. I could have done the George Carlin trick of just opening the window and handing them the bag of food for the price. But so sure enough, she wanted a McRib, so I got it. So I went and we got her a McRib. Yeah, whatever. So what? But we didn't need it. We got it, but we didn't need it. But then, sure enough, McRib is back, so she wanted to go again to McDonald's. So we go to McDonald's, and we're standing there. And again, I didn't send the chicken back, like I said, because whatever, who the fuck cares? And I get to win the guilt derby. Well, my wife orders her McDonald's food. I'm not eating. And she orders a McRib and a McRib meal. And then she's looking at the Avatar toys. She goes, what kind of toys do you have for the Happy Meal? And he's like, the guy goes, we have the horse and we have the this guy. I don't know why the guy who was going to drive my trees home works there. I have no idea why that happened. Folks, I don't do voices. I think of anything very clear. Even though I say that, and then Mexico, you do voices. Like you've done, like the guy at the Glory Hole and people like that, you make voices up. But those aren't good voices. Just because I alter my voice to do a different voice doesn't mean that I do voices. It just means that I do something that sounds slightly different than my voice. So the guy who delivers my tree is obviously working at McDonald's, and my wife is dealing with him. So she orders McRib and her meal, and then she's looking at the Avatar toys. And my wife is looking over them. She needed a jeweler's loupe to get a closer look. I mean, I don't know. They're fucking Avatar Happy Meal toys, but she loves junk. I got a drawer at home that's filled with chiclets and decks of cards and fucking dice and expired coupons and miniature fun-sized bars. I'm like, Snickers bars. Like this just ball. I mean, literally, you could dump it out, and she'd never miss any of it. Never miss any of it if we threw it all away. But fucking, it's full. I mean, like today, I got, as she's breaking out her Christmas stuff, she's digging out stuff from closets that, should not be out for the light of day for anybody to see, quite frankly, because they need to be thrown away. You don't need the People magazine from when John F. K. Jr. died. Nobody needs that. What, is there some different story, some spin on it that you missed, some nuance you missed from People magazine? No, you open it up and literally it's a drawing of a sad face. That's People magazine's nuance on the death of John F. Kennedy Jr. Literally, you open it up, oh, I think that's what it is. It's a sad face, and you turn the page, it says, oh, across two pages, A's and W's and exclamation points. And then you turn the page, and there's a picture of Ted Kennedy looking somber. Done. That's it. That was the coverage of the death of JFK Jr. by People magazine, and yet you've saved it all these years. And I fully say that knowing that I'm the guy who has newspapers from the San Francisco earthquake in 1989. I have them, but I don't bring them out for all to see. They're tucked away neatly in a box somewhere. Yes, I have the reviews of my very first comedy shows when I was a kid and the Orange County Register came to see me at the Laugh Stop. I need those for posterity when I finally get famous and I can go ahead and print them for everybody to read that the MC was moderately entertaining. I need people to know that. Look at the heights I've scaled. Look how far I've come from moderately entertaining to holy shit, we got to watch that guy. From moderately entertaining to verbal mosh pit that comes to you free every single week. Look at that. Look at the leaps and bounds I've made. If only the Orange County Register would review this show. The podcast was moderately entertaining but longer. That's what it would say. And then he would turn the page and there'd be a sad face and it would say, "Oh, that's it." So she opens up the closet, she's digging out all this shit. Literally, her desk right now, there's a pile of matchbooks that she's collected from her youth. She gets matchbooks. She's collected them since she was a little kid. Any bar that her dad would drag her into, and that's another story. But no, I'm teasing. That's my dad. All right, so... Because there was a bar called Lucky's in Chicago, and it was my dad was a bus driver for a while, and Karen's dad was a bus driver. So she's concocted this whole thing where we met as children at the bar by the bus depot. And I'm like, that never happened. I don't know. She goes, yeah, we were there, and we were having a Coke, and you were having a Coke, and then you were playing the bowling machine game, and then you were mean, and you wouldn't let us play. I'm like, well, then why did you fucking marry me? Like... If you want to go to that level, I'm going to bring it to that level too. Why the fuck did you marry me if I was mean at the bowling machine when I was a kid? Well, I still thought you were cute. Oh, I'm sure you did. You know why? Because you got a couple of pops in you at the beer. You're sneaking beers off your old man. So what the fuck? How did I get there? But there was something else. I was talking about McDonald's, but then I went and said something. Oh, the matchbooks. She's got these matchbooks piled. Put them away. There you go. That's all I needed to say. All right, so she's at McDonald's, and she's looking at the Avatar toys, and she's, I don't know if she's pricing them, and there's a guy and a horse. Now, I got to be honest with you, the first thing, they're in bags, too, by the way. They're hermetically sealed, because you don't want fingerprints all over the Avatar people. And you turn one of them on, and the blue guy's head lights up, and she's, like, trying it. Now, there's a line behind us, okay? There's now a line as we're waiting for our food, and she's looking at the Avatar guys. And I am always cognizant of, get out of these people's way. You know what I mean? Like, can we let these people just order their food? Because again, it's McDonald's. I mean, there should never be a line at McDonald's. Never. Never. People should know what they want. They should walk up and they should get it. They should be handed it. They should leave the fucking restaurant immediately in shame. Hide your face because you're eating the worst thing you could ever possibly eat for yourself. The only thing worse than buying the food at McDonald's is buying the toys from McDonald's and pretending like they mean something to anybody. Why do you want the Avatar toys? They're going to go right in the goddamn junk drawer, buried under a pile of matches from your youth. All right. So she's looking at the Avatar guys, and I got to be honest with you, I will say this, pretty cool looking, like the little blue guy was, and he lit up. But if you got a horse and you got an Avatar guy, wouldn't you put the Avatar guy on the horse to see if he could ride around? Like, I would do that. Like, if you're going to make people wait in line, fuck, you might as well play with these things. So I wanted to put blue Avatar guy on green horse and gallop around on the thing by the register. And I'm like, here, let me see him. And she's like, no, I got to figure out. And so I'm waiting. I actually do a lap. Like, I walk away. There's people waiting behind her. So much so that a guy has to come up and go, hey, can I help somebody? So they had to start a second line because my wife is deep in thought over the Avatar guys. And again, keep in mind, she hasn't bought a Happy Meal. We don't have any children. She's going to buy the Avatar toys on their own. And you've been there with this. In the summer, what was it? What was she chasing? She needed toys for some movie in the summer. I don't know, some toy frog or whatever the fuck. Who the fuck cares? What do you need Happy Meal toys for? It's retarded. It makes no sense. And again, I say this fully knowing that I was a guy who, when I was a kid, I worked at a grocery store. I worked as a checker at Jewel, and I used to bring a Gumby and a Pokey and set them up on my cash register and just to work the day and look at Gumby and Pokey. I said Gumby because I was in a Gumby phase for a while. I thought they were hysterical because I just loved the fact that Gumby, the way his mouth would move and he would talk. It was just weird. I thought Gumby was weird, but I was into him. So I bought a Gumby and a Pokey. And I will tell you this. I did put the Gumby in my pocket for a while, and I had him like out with his arms out. And so, little conversation piece. Folks, I'm a dick. I wanted attention even then. And believe me, I'll get into that another time. So I fully understand the lure of knickknacks and crap, but, we're in a position now where we shouldn't be buying knickknacks and crap. I didn't even want to buy tree sauce. You're buying knickknacks and crap. So she finally decides with the Avatar guys, and then I go, "Are you getting these? Are you not getting these? What's happening?" And finally she goes, "Nah, I don't want them." And I'm not lying to you. The guy takes the Avatar toys and throws them into the box. Like my wife is treating them as if they were Fabergé eggs. Like she's like cradling them and she's posing them, and he takes them, boom, he just whips them back into the goddamn box. And I just looked at her like that's exactly the amount of care those things deserved. You know, honestly, the food in this place should be thrown at that same velocity. They should fire your McRib at you out of a T-shirt cannon. They shouldn't even, you know what I mean? It's not healthy. It's not good. It's not something you need to take great care in. They should literally go, "Hey, you want a McRib?" And then put a bazooka on their shoulder and go, "Foonk," and it just fucking shoots into your gullet. You swallow it and you get fat and hate yourself. That's what you should do with a McRib. So sure enough, she's getting the food, and the guy packs the bag, and he puts the, he gives her fries, McRib, whatever the fuck, and then she looks at it and she goes, "Can I have the fresh fries?" And I face palm immediately. I'm just like, "Oh, no, really? This isn't happening?" And he goes, "Excuse me?" Because again, he wants to deliver my tree. He wants to steal it. And she goes, Can I have fresh fries?" And I look at her and I go, and again, she usually does this to me. Like she'll interfere when I'm getting crazy. And then I'll shoot her a look like, "Hey, Debbie Reynolds, enough." You know what I mean? Because Debbie Reynolds in Mother makes 9 excuses because she's embarrassed. But I can't believe that my wife wants fresh fries. But then again, at the same time, I do understand it because there's nothing worse than getting fucking horrible fries from McDonald's because the whole point of going there is the fries. Everything else is incidental. All the toys, all the sandwiches, they should be McFries because they make the best fries in the fucking world. When you're fat. So, it's just like this huge fistful of salt. God damn, it's great. So, but the thing is, this is why I was weirded out. They were fresh fries. They just happened, like he dumped them when we first got in and she ordered, and they might have cooled off a little bit as she priced toys. But they were hot enough. I mean, I could see them in the bag. And then she goes, "No, can I have the fresh fries?" And he goes, "Those are fresh fries." And she goes, "No, I really wanted the fresh ones." He goes, "I just made those. Really, I just made those right when you walked in." And my wife goes, "Are you making new ones?" And the guy just goes, "Yes." And she goes, "Those are the fresh fries." Are you shitting me? I'm waiting for Ronald himself to walk out and go, "Lady, what the fuck do you want us to do?" I'm waiting for Ronald to come out, and he's going to be Sheldon Leonard, the bartender from It's a Wonderful Life. "We serve hard drinks for men who want to get drunk fast." I mean, I expect him. "We serve shit food for people who want to fill their bellies. It's poverty level food, lady. You don't want the hot fries. We've got fries. Take them." But this weird passive aggressive. "Then those are the fresh fries." And this guy just threw the toys at high velocity into the fucking toy bin. And sure enough, he fucking walks over. The little buzzer goes off. The fries, they rise out of their fry grave. And he dumps the hot ones in, scoops a giant, and he packed it. I mean, he filled it. We could have gone hiking in the Andes and survived on these fries for 10 days. I mean, it was this huge pile. It was like a haystack. You know what it was? It was a haystack of fries. He didn't even need the scoop. He could have used a pitchfork and just fucking and thrown it. It was so gigantic. It just was like a thatch hut of French fries. And he gives it to her, and then he just puts it right in her bag. And she goes, "Well, don't you want the old fries?" And I just look at the ground, and he looks at her, and he just goes, "You keep them." Because again, I know exactly what he's thinking. He's like, "Lady, you need these fries a lot more than I need these fries back." And but again, my wife, Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, like completely oblivious to sarcasm and all of that. And so she just comes, she goes, "Thank you." And she turns around and looks at me, and I look at her and I go, "What? I don't get you at all." She goes, "What?" I go, "They were hot. They were hot fries." She goes, "No, they weren't. Feel the difference." Like she goes, "Here." And she does a blind taste test. She goes, "Close your eyes." And I go, "All right." So she puts fries in my mouth, and I bite them, and I go, "Those are hot. Those are good." And then she puts the next ones in, and they burn my tongue. They're so hot. She goes, "See? Those are the fresh fries." I go, but the other ones are good enough. They're fine. She goes, yes, but by the time we get home from this McDonald's, they'll be even colder and they won't be good. So you get the super hot fries now, so then they will be as hot as those other fries are now when we get home. And I realized I'm married at my crazy level. As fucking bananas as I am, as weird as I am about I don't want to loan you my newspaper because you'll steal the information out of it. I don't want my magazine cover to bend because then that bend will be there the entire time. As weird as I am about sorting candy and counting it and putting it in all different places, my wife is just as fucking bananas as I am. So I couldn't argue with the logic. I mean, she fucking McDonald logic me. I think even Grimace and Hamburglar would have gone, yeah, you know what, I'm on board with this. Robble fucking Robble, give her the fresh fries. These are the fresh fries. She was right. I mean, I could not dispute it. I was checkmated with a king made out of French fries. And then I busted her ball. I go, you know what? You're crazy. You're fucking crazy to do that at McDonald's. And she goes, well, now you have something to talk about on your podcast. That's her get out of jail free card. Whenever my wife does something completely fucking lunatic, whenever my wife does something weird or odd or I'll bust her balls on her, I go, seriously, why the fuck are you doing this? She always just smiley, just real smiley, chipper, and just goes, oh, now you have something to talk about on your podcast. So my wife feels apparently that she's transcended from life partner into content generating machine. And because she doesn't listen to the show, she doesn't realize, you know what? This verbal mosh pit, I got more than enough to fill up the time. But I'll be honest with you, as I sit here now, I feel exactly like I did in the car when she pinned me to the wall on the French fry argument. My wife is the Alan Dershowitz of fast food arguments. And the very fact that she pinned me to the wall on that in the car and I came around to her way of thinking, I got to be honest with you, as I sit here now, she's right. Now I got something to talk about on my podcast. Because I've talked about her, McDonald's, and the tree. I didn't even finish the tree story. I didn't even get into it yet, did I? Where are we? How many? We're at 51 minutes. 51 minutes. And this is like a natural ending for the show, pretty much.
We still have to get the tree home.
Yeah. All right. So I get the bottom line is, as nuts as you think I am, just realize I have absolutely partnered up with somebody who can match me fucking nutbag for nutbag.
Hey, this is Louie the Elf, and you're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network. Not only is Lily on the naughty list, but Santa wants her to autograph it for him. Nice.
Give me a Christmas where treetops glisten. I want a Christmas where children listen. I want to hear some sleigh bells in the snow, just like the Christmases I used to know. I want a Christmas so bad, may your days be merry and bright. I'm a dreaming of a white Christmas. May your days be merry and bright. Three kings, I just received gifts from three kings. Three kings, they brought frankincense, gold, and some myrrh. What is myrrh? I'm not sure what it is, but I don't need it. Those three kings, I think that myrrh is some kind of gum resin. Is there a gift receipt? Man, I'm the son of God.
That's right, A Very 80s Christmas is available only for a limited time. Celebrate the season with all the synthesizer-heavy, pop-laden bubblegum ditties of the MTV generation and all their big-haired glory. Get in the holiday mood with Yuletide Classics 5, John Cafferty and the Beaver Round Band, Dexy's Midnight Runners, Don Johnson, Ronnie James Dio, and many, many more. A Very 80s Christmas is available on 2 CDs for $19.99 or 33 8-track cassettes for only $63.50. Call 1-800-867-5309. Call today. Jenny is standing by. Order now. Warning, listening to A Very 80s Christmas can make you wear your sunglasses at night.
I say that to you folks because I hear from you all the time telling me, oh, I can't believe your wife didn't kill you. She's a saint. How does she stay with you? How do you sleep around her? You have to be uncomfortable thinking that somehow she might murder you because you're so fucking bananas. But I think she realizes that if she got rid of me, then who's going to be crazy with her? Nobody. I'm the Brad Pitt to her Bruce Willis in 12 Monkeys. She's in a reality that might be a reality, and she's probably a step ahead of everybody else. And then she's got this fucking lunatic friend who keeps telling her, hey, what if we went over here and did this? Hey, wouldn't this be fucking nuts? That's who I am. Goddamn, by the way, if you haven't seen 12 Monkeys, watch it again, because Brad Pitt is fucking astonishing in it. Jesus, is he good. And wow, it's funny. I mentioned Benjamin Button on here a couple of weeks ago, like that I liked it. And Benjamin Button's taking an ass kicking from everybody. 30 Rock kicked the shit out of it a couple of weeks ago too. Like, I'm like, dude, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I mean, I liked it. You know, I don't know. Maybe, or am I just saying I liked it because I'm pretending I'm grown up? I don't know. But I liked it. I enjoyed it when I saw it. All right, so fuck you. All right, so that seems weird. Why would I attack you? You didn't say anything. Why am I even bringing that up? All right, so what the fuck was I even talking about? We were at McDonald's for an hour. And, because, you know why? Because I don't like, neither of us will take responsibility for what we're doing. So, because then the other person wins when it turns out to be a fail. So we took the tree to your house, right? Did I tell all that?
Not that we actually delivered it.
I'm lost.
Yes, you delivered it and you were getting ready to drive away.
All right, we're leaving. We're going, to my house. And I'm going to take the freeway. That's what it was. All right. So I looked at Karen. This was the genesis. This terrible. This is why I got sidetracked because I can't make a decision on my own. All right. I can't just say, you know what? Let's take the freeway, because then inevitably, when the tree flies off of the top of my car and fucking, like Final Destination smashes through somebody's windshield and gives them a goddamn pine cone enema, I'm going to have to go, yeah, I guess I shouldn't have gone on the freeway. No, that's why I can't make the decision myself. I have to look at my wife and go, hey, you think we should take the freeway? Because I want to take the freeway because it gets me home faster, but how much time do I really save? Because I'm going to be driving on the freeway the whole time wondering whether somebody's going to die or not. So I'm going to be super extra cautious. And by super extra cautious, I mean I'm going to go 65 instead of 75. So I'm like, well, I should just take the freeway. And then I go, you know what I could probably do? I could just like roll my window down and reach up and hold on to the tree with my left hand because it's nearer to my side. And that's fucking crazy. Who thinks that? What am I? I'm Mariusz Pudzianowski. I'm the strongest man in the world is who I am. And I'm going to reach up. I think his name's Mariusz Pudzianowski. Why did I bring that up? Because now he's fighting MMA. There's this guy who's a 5-time winner of the keg carrying bullshit that you see on ESPN2. You ever see those guys who are like, they pull a train car with their cock and then they got to carry a keg of beer up 9 flights of stairs and they got to throw a boulder at somebody. Those contests are hysterical to me. Hey, that's what men do. Men sit around and go, fuck, how far can I run with a fridge on my back? I mean, seriously, that's what guys do. We invented a game when I was a kid. I was 22. We were in Tahoe. So when I lived in Tahoe, we were bored, and we invented games. We invented wall ball. And I talked to wall ball on here, right? But we didn't have a ball. So we would take beer cans and we would crush them and we would have to throw them like in the corner of your room. Like look in your room and look up in the corners of your room. You see how the wall meets the ceiling? We played wall ball where we would have to throw you would get 5 points to get it to hit it off one wall, and then 10 points to go wall, and then you'd get like 50, it would get progressively longer if you could go wall ceiling wall or left wall ceiling wall or wall ceiling, which is really impossible. And we would sit there all and kill an afternoon just playing wall. I don't even know why we called it wall ball, because we didn't have a ball. We had beer cans, and we would just fucking throw them at the goddamn ceiling. All right, so that's what we did. I think I actually heard Van Halen did that on tour. Like, they would play that in their hotel rooms, and I think that's how I invented wall ball. We also invented a game, which was fucking awesome, and I think I've talked about it on here before. Have I talked about Waiter with a Bad Disposition?
No.
All right, we invented a game called Waiter with a Bad Disposition. All right, and what it was like one day we were home, and when I was in Tahoe, I lived with a bunch of fucking poker dealers, and I was a bouncer. My buddy DJ was a DJ. We worked in the same bar, and then he had two buddies in from Idaho. It was a crash pad, and so we would drink and watch movies and eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then be out all night. So one day we just happened to all be home. Everybody was off. Like, I don't know why we were off, and we had a thing called a dirty dunk. Do you know what that is? A dirty dunk is like it's a little miniature backboard with a hoop and a basketball net, and you're supposed to throw your laundry through it. Like, it was just a little goofy thing that people invented. Like, oh yeah, you can like throw your shirt. It's supposed to be set up over your laundry basket, and it goes through, and haha, dirty dunk. Well, we set it up in the living room, and we had a tiny little basketball, like a little one, and we would shoot fucking jumpers or whatever because we had a sunken living room, so we could actually get an arc on the ball. So we're fucking banging the ball around, and we're playing catch, and we're shooting baskets, and then we invent a game called Waiter with a Bad Disposition. So what it is one guy shoots free throws, okay, and then there's another guy who has to rebound for him. There were five of us at the house at the time. It was me, DJ, Ransom, Rick, and Robert. So we needed five positions. I mean, it's like, and I must tell you, the game was not initially called Waiter with a Bad Disposition. All right, the game was just shooting free throws. But what happened was we invented a position. There was one guy was shooting, one guy's rebounding, and then we invented a bartender position. So one guy would shoot, and the other guy would rebound. So I would shoot free throws, okay, and then DJ would rebound, and we had a breakfast nook. So he would hand the ball to the bartender who was in the kitchen. The bartender would get beers out of the fridge. He would give the ball and the beers to the waiter. The waiter would have to walk them over to the coach. The coach would sit by you, and he would say, all right, he would give you tips on how to shoot your free throws, and he would drink a beer while you were playing. All right, so that's what we were going to kill the afternoon playing this game. So once DJ became the waiter, though, he was like, I don't want to be waiter. We're like, dude, you have to be the waiter because he rotated. Shooter went to rebounder, rebounder went to bartender, bartender went to waiter, waiter went to coach. And it didn't matter, coach, we don't care about your basketball knowledge. As long as you can give a few pointers on how to shoot free throw, you're going to be the coach. That's fine. And waiter, I don't give a fuck if you have experience as a waiter. It's just a natural progression thing. Nobody gets out of being a fucking waiter. Sometimes you got to be the goddamn waiter. I'm sure it's a step down to go from bartender to waiter, but imagine how the guy who went from rebounder to bartender felt. So to go from bartender to waiter is a step down. So DJ's like, dude, I don't want to be waiter. I just want to be coach. We're like, fuck you, dude. Because, again, we're 20-year-old men living in a house together, crashing. And we're like, dude, you got to be the waiter. So first shot, rebounded. Rick is bartending. They give him the ball. He gives the beers to DJ. DJ walks over, and he drops the beer. Like, he holds the beers in the air. He drops them on the coach. Like, he doesn't hand them to him, and he fucking drops the ball and the beers. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Robert was the coach, and he had to, like, cover up. And I was like, dude, that waiter's got a bad disposition. Now we've got a game. So we named the game Waiter with a Bad Disposition. So now every waiter has to have a bad disposition. That's what he has to do. So one guy's shooting, one guy's rebounding, gives the ball to the bartender. Bartender gives the ball and the beers to the waiter with a bad disposition. He walks over and he's like, fuck you, and he throws the beers at the coach, and then the coach has to hand you the ball and coach you. So the five of us are killing time. We played that for an hour and a half, I think. We just played it in the house, drinking and shooting and playing this game. And then Craig came home. And he's like, what are you guys doing? We're like, dude, we invented a game called Waiter with a Bad Disposition. He's like, how do you play? So we explain, one guy rebounds, one guy shoots, one guy's the bartender, the waiter, we explain the whole fucking thing. And he goes, well, I want to play, dude. And we're like, well, dude, there's no room for you. And he's like, well, we need to invent another position. So we're like, all right, you know what? We invented the insult chair. So one guy shoots. The rebounder gives the balls to the bartender. The bartender gives the beers and the ball to the waiter with a bad disposition, who then goes to the coach, and the coach will give you pointers on how to shoot free throws. And then the waiter will then bring another beer over to the insult chair, and the insult chair will basically shit on the coach and all of his advice and tell you suck. So that's what happened. We killed an entire afternoon playing waiter with a bad disposition, and then we added the insult chair. And the game ended, by the way, after, we played for 3 hours. I'm not lying to you. We played this an entire afternoon. We only broke to go get KFC because it was a half a block away, so we bought a ton of fucking chicken, and we made the waiter go get it. Of course the fucking waiter has to go get it. And it was great because fucking Robert, we cheated a little bit because me, Craig, Ransom, and DJ lived there. Rick and Robert were in just for the summer from Idaho, and we waited till one of them was the waiter, and we decided to have a chicken break, and we made him go get chicken for everybody. And he's like, dude, no, the waiter doesn't have to go. We're like, fuck that. And we made him literally become a waiter. We made him take our order, and he had to go down, and we made him fucking pay for it. We're like, dude, you got to pay for it, because they were kind of buying the food and stuff anyway, but never before had all 6 of us been home at one time. So it was just a fucking prodigious, he had to buy like 2 buckets of chicken. It was awesome. But we actually made the waiter pay at that point, and truly, that waiter had a bad disposition. So, and we played for like 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours. We ate chicken, we were playing, and the reason we stopped is because the insult chair, it was Ransom, and he was so drunk. His insult that he said was, he looks up at the guy, because the coach was like, you know what, dude? He goes, you know what, don't, because DJ had long hair, and the coach was like, you know what, your long hair is getting in your eyes, you got to brush it out of your eyes, and you got to shoot, whatever, bullshit coach advice. And then the ball went to the insult chair, and he handed it to DJ, and he goes, you know what, man, if I had fucking haircut like yours, I'd be a lawnmower. And there was this beat, and literally 6 guys laughed until they almost threw up all their chicken because it was the stupidest insult, and it all came crashing down. Where you go, we just spent 3 hours playing waiter with a bad disposition. This is worse than wall ball, quite frankly. This is absolutely worse than wall ball. So men invent games. How did I get there? I was driving in the car, and I was going to hold it with my right hand or my left hand. And that wasn't. We might have to go back. Huh? Strongman.
You referenced that you thought you were the strong guy who plays wrestling, who then played wall ball.
Yes, that is it. That is absolutely it. Mariusz Pudzianowski. All right. Thank God you're here. All right. So So Pudzianowski, so he's like one of those dudes. He's one of those strong dudes who, like I said, he has to carry an anchor to Texas, whatever the fuck, and now he's fighting MMA. And so that's why Mariusz Pudzianowski's in my brain, because he literally fought in Poland last week, yesterday, tomorrow. I don't fucking know. I'm lost, folks. I'm trying not to go against the flow again and fucking lose everybody. So yeah, that's who I am. I'm Mariusz Pudzianowski. That's the reference nobody gets. Why would I even bring him up? Because he's in my fucking brain. So I'm thinking that we're going to get on the freeway, and I'm going to use my left hand. And then part of me, here's how smart I am. I figure I can open my sunroof, and Karen can use her right hand, and I'll use my left hand. And we're going to completely hold it on the freeway. I'm an idiot. But again, far be it from me to take the long way home. No, I'm going to go on the freeway. So I said, but of course, I'm also going to ask Karen to make sure that she takes the blame in this when it happens. And I said, I go, do you think we should go on the freeway? She goes, well, I don't know, Michael. She goes, well, maybe we can do it. That's all I needed. Boom. Yes, it backs up my decision. So we go to pull on the freeway. And she goes, if anything, now as I'm pulling onto the freeway, I'm on the on-ramp. She goes, and if anything just happens, just go ahead and get off. I'm like, well, why are you telling me that now? I don't need a crisis of confidence as we're getting on right now. I got the Grinch sleigh wobbling. I don't need you fucking losing it. You got to back me up here. You were the one. This is your idea. Not her idea. So we're getting on the freeway to head home, and it's at Highland. I should tell you that because it's 2 lanes that immediately become 1 lane, and then that 1 lane merges into the freeway really quickly. So I've got to concentrate on, and I will tell you, I've abandoned all the I'm going to hold the tree bullshit. Because again, who am I, Mariusz Pudzianowski? That might be the name of the fucking show. Who am I, Mariusz Pudzianowski? No one's going to know. I might not even be getting his name right, but go watch him on YouTube. He's like this. I can't imagine the guy who had to fight Pudzianowski. It looks like he's fighting a movie screen because it's this gigantic man who just comes running out. It's like if you were going to have to fight the letter V. I mean, Pudzianowski comes bursting out. He's this giant strong man. He throws these evil leg kicks on this tiny little dude who's like a pro boxer. He has no business even being in the room in the ring for MMA, but he's going to fight Pudzianowski in Pudzianowski's debut. And Pudzianowski's Polish, as if you hadn't guessed that. And it's like I just found out like the 15% of the country watched him. I mean, he's a national hero. Of course you would be. It's Poland. I mean, the guy's... I love the fact that he's a national hero. This is a guy who's lugging sacks of flour upstairs for speed. That guy's a national hero. That country needs more heroes. If you're from Poland, do me a favor. Put me on a speaker and drive around like with an ice cream truck. I could be a hero in that goddamn country. If those people are like, wow, did you hear about Pudzianowski? He fucking threw a kettlebell over a brick wall. That's a national hero. That guy's my goddamn hero. Wrap him up in the flag and show him and people beating up a boxer. All right. So I abandoned the Pudzianowski strategy. That also could be the name of the show. God damn it. So many names for this show. None. All right, so I'm driving, and I'm merging. So now I've got to merge quickly into my lane, and then I've got to merge also into the freeway really fast, and I've got to go about 9 exits. Okay, so 6 miles? No, 8 miles? 9 exits. That's 9 miles, stupid. So I got to go about 9 miles on the freeway. 7 miles? I don't know. Either way, even if I got to go a half mile, the fact is I've got an instrument of death strapped to my roof of my car, and the only thing holding it on is Lily's extensive knowledge of bondage. So I have to be confident in the fact that she's never let a slave escape. That's how I have to feel about the fact that I've got a tree on my... I'm like, well, is anybody going to die on this trip home? Well, I just have to rely on the fact that she's never let a slave escape, and if that's the case, then no one's going to die. So we're driving. I'm on the freeway. I'm merging onto the lane, and then I have to merge across onto the freeway. So I'm looking, and I got to punch it. Now I'm going about 75 because I've got to merge, and I go over, and I've got the sunroof not open, but the inside part open so you can look through the sunroof. And Karen is keeping an eye on it as I'm driving, and I merge over one lane, and then I merge over a second lane, and Karen goes, "Oh, Michael!" And I'm going 75 because I'm trying to merge into traffic, okay? And I don't know what the fuck "oh, Michael" means. I don't know if it means that, like I said, it could be the Grinch. The sleigh could be falling off the cliff. The tree could have, for all I know, the tree could be gone. The tree could have already flown off because it was that urgent. Her "oh, Michael" was that urgent. And all in my head, all I'm thinking about is, I should have Pudzianowski'd it. Why the fuck didn't I Pudzianowski it? But I look up immediately, and again, I'm on the freeway, so everything's happening. I'm moving fast, and I look up, the tree's fine. It's right there. And she goes, "It moved." And I go, "What?" And she goes, "It moved." I go, "We're going 75 miles an hour, and there's wind. It's going to move." And she goes, "Oh, my God, it moved." Yeah. And I go, "All right, I'm getting off the freeway now." And again, her fault. Not really her fault, but I'm going to make it her fault that she panicked and made me get off the freeway. But now I got to get across 4 lanes of traffic. So I try to slow down. I'm looking at the tree, and now I'm really thinking about whether I got to reach out and grab it. And I look up, and then I see it move. I actually see it kind of like it moves. Let's put it this way. If it's pitch black out, and I'm looking through the sunroof, and I can kind of see the needles, and then I see it shift, that's not good. So I'm like, fuck, I got to get off the goddamn freeway. So I just, reckless abandon, I put on the signal, and I turn around. I don't even look in front of me. People could have hit the brakes, and we'd be dead, which would have been fine because I would have died. And then the last thing I would have seen as my head went through the windshield was the tree moving that much faster as it went to impale somebody 4 cars ahead of me. But instead, I was able to safely get over. I'm moving over as bad, and Karen's looking, and she's like, oh, and I'm like, relax. And I get all the way to the end, and I get 4 lanes over, and I finally get off the freeway. And it's like, it was so tense, and I exhaled, and I looked at her, and I go, "Don't fucking scream at me on the freeway with the tree. I mean, it's weird enough that I'm trying to drive, and now you sure enough, you fucking scream at me." And it's like, I looked up. I saw it move too, okay? You're not wrong here. I saw it move too, and I'm trying to drive and turn, and I go, but I'm giving her this big speech of why you shouldn't yell at someone on the goddamn freeway as they're merging lanes. And I'm like, so please don't freak out next time. Just tell me it moved, or we got to get off, or something. Try to be calm. But if you yell, "Oh, Michael," I don't know what the fuck to do. I think we're about to roll, and everybody's dead. And she looks at me and just goes, "Now you got something to talk about on your podcast." It never ends. It's the get out of jail free card. It's going to live forever. My wife now forever she can do whatever she wants, and then whenever I gripe about it, she's going to go, "Now you got something to talk about on your podcast." And I love my favorite part is that she doesn't listen to the show at all. Doesn't listen, not 1 second of it. Has no idea. It could be a test pattern. I could be lying. I could be making up Wednesdays to go off and bang somebody. She has no clue. Now you got something to listen to, talk about on your podcast. Oh, Jesus. So we get home, and we have to get the tree off. So I'm out in the carport area, and I've got a knife, and because I don't know how the depth of Lily's knots. I don't know if they were just hey, I'm teasing you, we're having fun here knots, or if they were you're not going anywhere and I'm cutting off your circulation knots. I don't know the difference between slave for a night and slave for a month. So I got to go ahead and chop it off. So I chop all the rope off, and we gather that up, and I carry the tree in, and I have to duck the tree sideways to get it in, because again, it's an 8-foot tall tree. Thankfully, still 8 foot tall, even after the debacle at 75 miles an hour. Branches, needles, nothing flew off. So I finally get into the house, and I have to put it, lower it, and I got to swoop it in. Like the Grinch. With the same motion the Grinch, when he stuffed the tree up the chimney, I had to stuff the tree into my house. I had to get it through my doorway, and luckily they've wrapped it up in that netting, that saran wrap netting. So I punch it in, I stuff it into my house, and then I have to stand there and hold it while my wife gets the stand and water and the tree sauce and builds the fucking 9 parts this to 4 parts that and whatever. I don't fucking know. All I know is I'm standing there with, again, twirling the tree. We're going to do a curtsy and a bow, and I think I got an 8.7 from the English guy. I have no idea if it worked. However, as bad as I was with the tree, we still beat Marie Osmond. So I'm holding it. Karen gets she sets up the stand, and then I'm like, well, do you got to set up because I also got dinged for the white cloth. I had to buy the white cloth that you put at the bottom. That was another thing that got tacked onto my tab. And she goes, no, you set that up later. And I go, all right. So she puts the stand in. I put the tree in. And she goes, now we got to twist the bolts so it holds the tree upright. I go, do you need me to do that? She goes, no, you just hold the tree and I'll do the twisting. So I'm holding the tree, and she's doing the twisting. She's setting it up. And mind you, it's still in the netting. We're just making sure it's getting in the stand right now, and I'm holding it up. And finally I go, well, we got to take the net off, right? And she goes, well, let me get it in the stand. So the tree, the sauce, everything's all set up. She screws it up, and it's a little crooked, so I've got to move it. I've got to move it here. I got to dip it, everything. She finally sets it up and gets it exactly where she wants it to be. And she goes, all right, well, let's take the netting off. So I go get scissors, and I go to cut the netting. I cut it up, and I'm trying to be careful not to cut the branches. I cut the netting off, and right when I hit the top thing, the whole tree just unfurls like the banners in 2112 I talked about a couple of weeks ago. I take that netting off, and this tree triples in size, easily, not height, in girth. So much so that we've got it, in the front window. Well, also there's a television stand, and my high-def television is there, and there's remotes by the television. The tree, I cut the netting off, it just sends the remotes flying. It just completely indiscriminately destroys my living room. Smash! It's 8 foot tall, and it's green, and it's destroying my living room. I just bought the Hulk. I made that tree angry. I'm here to tell you, you wouldn't like that tree when it's angry. It sends your remotes flying. I try to get through that without laughing. But it just fucking whoomph. And it's in front of the television, where I usually sit. You can't see the TV. And I mean, everything. It's just because it's too much tree. We bought too much tree for a fucking 1-bedroom apartment. But that's how much my wife loves Christmas. She just wants to make sure that the entire house smells like cat piss for 9 weeks. So we said I look at her and I go, we got to move this, right? We're going to move this. So instead, I got to move the TV stand over like 6 inches or a foot. And then I got to move the TV over on the TV stand all the way to the edge of the TV stand. The fucking tree is it's looming. It's lurking. It's just... Bruce Banner would be proud of this angry green fucking 8-foot monster in my living room. I'm waiting for the Abomination to show up and challenge it to a fight. I'm waiting for the leader to put his giant green head in and declare that war on my living room. What the fuck? I bought the goddamn Hulk. 8 foot tall, huge, wide fucking tree. Takes up the whole house. This is over a week ago. Set it up, but Karen, again, Karen could not. Oh my God, Christmas! The house smells so nice. Yes, it does. Because I love Christmas because my wife loves it. So I'm happy she's happy. That's all I care about. So now she's got to decorate the tree. Now we get home at like 10:30 at night, and my wife runs the gamut. She's like me. Like you hear me get all revved up, and I talk fast for about like fucking 15 minutes, and then I'm like, whoo, Jesus, let's play a fake commercial. I mean, it's like. My wife is like that. So we get the tree home. She's like, woof, the netting's off. All right, we set it up. It's all twisted up. Oh, it's so great. We got to decorate this tree eventually. And then she looks at her watch and she's like, woo, let's just relax. We don't need to do that right now, do we? True. We don't need to decorate the tree the night we get it home. Now that we've had it home for 8 days, might be time to decorate the tree, don't you think? Because what my wife does is, again, she does what I do. She gets all revved up and then fucking just goes, oh, Jesus, I can't do all that. I mean, it's like, it just seems so daunting. My wife has spent this entire week unloading the closets and getting all the Christmas decorations out. They're not on the goddamn tree. But every huge plastic tub that's filled with some piece of shit gold bow is out in my living room. It looks like a bomb went off in my house, but it's a bomb of joy. Just a bomb of joy exploded, and there's decorations and ribbon and tinsel all packed up in boxes and on chairs, none of it on the goddamn tree. I came home Saturday night, I came home, and the lights were on the tree. Because I can see, like, we have blinds, but through the blinds, she had them open a little bit, and I can see she put lights on. Finally, at least she put lights on the tree. So I go, thank God. So I walk in the house. She put the lights on that spot that looks out of the window and nowhere else. The tree is completely bare except for one strand of lights in a foot-wide space that you can see through the goddamn window. She's got the angel on top of the tree that's all lit up and then the one strip of lights. Nothing else. The rest of the tree is completely bare. I went, what did you do? Are you going to fool the world into thinking you love Christmas? And granted, I get it. I'm no help. I'm just like, I'm the guy who's like, because I do love Christmas to a certain extent. But then when it gets to like, she's like, hey, let's decorate the tree. I'm like, okay. She just asked me if I'm going to midnight mass. And honestly, she asked me Monday. And the only reason I stopped laughing is because I had to do this show Wednesday. I've literally laughed for 2 straight days after she asked me if I was going to midnight mass. I don't think so. I don't think they'll have me, quite frankly. And the last thing you want to do is have the bouncers at the church tell me I can't come in, and then I got to fucking Pudzianowski the whole crew. But I can tell you this, I do understand why my wife has lost enthusiasm for decorating the tree, okay? Because not only is it her OCD of, yay, this is great, I need to sit down. I mean, it's like I have the same thing. Or is that ADD? That's ADD. She doesn't have OCD. She has ADD. So do I. All right. Seriously, go back to me jumping from tree to wall ball. Verbal mosh pit all over. Yeah, that'll tell you everything you need to know about whatever DDD, CD. I have CCD, actually. Unfortunately, that's where I can't pay attention to anybody talking about Christians. All right. So that's a joke for the Midwest. Do they have CCD out here? I don't think they do. All right. That was a thing, a religious class you had to take after real school. Yeah, because I'm going to pay attention to that. Sure. All right. So I know why my wife has lost enthusiasm for decorating the tree, because since we got this tree home, it has done nothing but leak pine needles all over the house. From the second we cut off the netting, whoomph, literally I was ankle deep in pine needles. And I know that she feels disappointed because she did all of her tests and I spun it and we twisted it and I flipped it up and down and she did her she took a branch off and stuck it into an EPT and it came up with a pink plus. Everything was great. And the second she got it home, it has done nothing but fucking shed needles. And she's actually very disappointed by it. I can tell. But the thing is, you can't tell on the tree. The tree still looks beautiful. It's just, it's shedding quickly. So she said to me the other day, she goes, yeah, sure is shedding a lot of needles. She goes, you know how many dustpans I got today? 3 full dustpans of needles. I said, wow, that's brutal. She goes, yeah, I'm starting to think that tree was older than that guy said it was. I said, okay, well, he told you that they were going to be getting other trees in the morning. And I told you that there was another Home Depot by the house where we could go and look for a better tree. As a matter of fact, this is the more expensive tree that you wanted, right? She goes, yeah, I know, but no, I just, I got it home. I go, Karen, you did all your tests. You put on your lab coat. You put the thermometer in the trunk. You did everything you needed to fucking do to figure out if this tree was going to be fine. And, this is the tree. This is your Christmas tree, honey. She goes, I know, but it's just, I can't believe that it's shedding so much. I go, but it's still beautiful. And when you decorate it, it's going to look even more beautiful because I'm trying to avoid having to get back on the freeway with a goddamn tree to take back to Home Depot and then drive back with another tree. I mean, I believe I've been through that. I don't need to do it again. But she's sitting there and she's just like, yeah, but I'm so disappointed that it's shedding. And I go, well, I mean, you don't want to return this tree, right? And her eyes like lit up, kind of like, could we? Like this weird, I could see it in her face. And she goes, do you think we should? And I go, I got news for you. This thing's going to look like Charlie Brown's fucking Christmas tree before I even think about getting it out of this house. And she said, really? And I said, yeah. I go, honey, come on, it's beautiful. And when you decorate it, it's going to be nice. But I got to be honest, after all the shit that we went through, the last thing, a week later, we're going to bring it back and say it's shedding needles. That's its job. A tree sheds needles. It brings joy and it shreds needles. Well, guess what? It's already brought joy. Try to live in that part of it. And let's not worry about the fact that it sheds needles. And she goes, well, all right, I just want to make sure that you don't think it looks bad. I go, I don't think it looks bad at all. Again, I don't care if Schroeder shows up playing his fucking piano. That tree stays. She goes, all right, you're right. I said, yeah, I'm right. So now the house is full of decorations, and part of me actually hopes that the tree does shed all of its needles. I want it to be Charlie Brown's tree. That's my goal. I want to be out one night, and then I'm just going to come home on like the 21st, and it's completely bare. And Karen is just sitting there like sad, but with tinsel in her hair. And I'm just going to look at her and go, Christmas time is here. You guys can get me at Mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can get me at MySpace.com/MikeSchmidtComedy. You can be my friend, my fancy internet fake friend, at Facebook.com/The40-Year-Old-Boy. And you can follow me on Twitter at Twitter.com/The40-Year-Old-Boy. And those, as always, are the number 40 for the 40-Year-Old Boys. You guys can book me for your wake if you want to go to bookmeforyourwake.com. I think that's still lurking out there. I got a letter from GoDaddy. They're like, hey, this is expiring. And part of me is like, I don't know if I should. Is it funny enough to spend $18 more on? Probably not. That's from year one, folks. By the way, I should mention year one to you guys at some point. I'll farm that out. And and don't forget, you guys can write Lily. You can write her at Facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp and go ahead and be her fancy internet fake friend. Or you can write her a personal note. I don't know what that means, but you can write her at Lily@burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
She's wearing like next to nothing, and she is all over me from the jump.
Hey, now.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so we start fooling around on the couch, right?
Yeah,
And before you know it, Han Solo makes an appearance.
Oh, cool.
You'd think, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad to see him and everything, but she wants to let him out.
She let him out?
Oh, yeah. She just pulled him down, and he was gone.
He took off.
Yeah, so I'm standing there.
Yeah.
Han Solo is gone,
Right.
but he's replaced by Dwayne.
Big Dwayne.
Oh, Dwayne is just huge. Dwayne is heavy.
Dwayne.
He's leaning. That's how heavy he is.
Oh, what's so bad about that?
Well, that part was fine.
Yeah.
Until I pulled a royal family.
You didn't.
Oh, yeah. Metamucil and regret was everywhere.
Oh, how pissed off was she?
Put it this way. She told me to get out, ...
No way.
Yeah, so I figured at that point, I wasn't even gonna get a side saddle lefty.
No
I know,
way.
horrible, right?
What would you have done?
This is Santa Claus. If you didn't understand this conversation, you need to buy the 40-Year-Old Boy Year 1 download set. Available at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Ho, ho, ho. Buy one now, and Santa won't have to eat pie out of your skull, you fuck.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Tease Extravaganza Special Burlesque show every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. That's 10 o'clock is the show. Our friend Lily Von Stupp, the premier burlesque producer in Los Angeles, will bring you the Monday Night Tease every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. Who is there this week?
It's the holiday extravaganza.
Folks, was I lying when I said extravaganza? I don't think I was, because apparently there's a holiday extravaganza. And these women are going to be as bare as my tree. Come on out to this show, folks. Who's there?
Minnie Tonka from New York City is coming in to give us some Hanukkah cheer.
Minnie Tonka with Hanukkah cheers. Minnie Tonka from New York, though?
Yeah.
But is she originally from Minnesota?
No.
Lake Minnetonka? That's got to be what it's from.
She might be from Minnesota originally.
You know what? I'm going to show up and I'm going to do an Apollonia. Do you know what that means?
Jesus Christ.
It means I'm going to jump in and purify myself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. That's right, friends. That's a fucking a burlesque dancer joke. All right. Literally, listen. Wait, hold on. Can you hear that? That's her canceling her flight. All right. So, no, come on out to the Monday Night Tees Holiday Extravaganza next week at the 3 Clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. You can always get a flyer for the show if you follow Lily on Twitter at twitter.com/MNTees. Tease, and you'll get all the information about Minnie Tonka and about other shows and things like that. There's a big laugh-in extravaganza coming up for our friend Lily's birthday. That'll be in January. And yeah, go to her birthday show. And I've learned about the power of this podcast because people will come if you tell them to come to things, because people will go to Lily's show and say they're from the podcast, and people will show up at my comedy show and say that they're from the podcast. Now, all I need to do is book some comedy shows. And then people will come and watch me. That'll be fantastic. So keep your eyes peeled, folks. I'm sure there'll be flyers all over town announcing my appearances, wherever they may be. And you never know who's going to show up at those shows, folks. There could be a Jeff. There could be a Kyle. He could be, Alfonso could show up. You have no idea. A Lily and the Clown. You have no idea who's in the crowd. A Tiger Woods. There could be a Tiger Woods in the crowd, folks. Tiger Woods could actually show up at my comedy show. And seriously, at this point, is there anything I could say, anything I could tell you about Tiger that would seem unbelievable at this point? He could show up at the show, right? You believe that? Because anything you said now, hey, did you hear Tiger had Osama bin Laden living in his guest house? Yes, I did hear that. Of course. It makes complete and utter sense. Why not? Nothing else he's done is too crazy for that. Hey, Tiger wore red every Sunday because he's in the Bloods. Yeah, he gives Suge Knight half his endorsement money, and now Suge has a hit on him for fucking up their cash flow with this scandal. Tough break for Tiger. I mean, I would believe it. Seriously, you can tell me anything. Hey, did you hear healthcare passed? Yeah, Tiger's personally paid the single-payer option for everybody in America to try to make amends, kind of like an apology. And I think that's good, because now, maybe his Ice Queen wife will let him stop sleeping on the couch. She's overreacting, right, folks? Don't you think she's overreacting just a little bit to this? I mean, he only banged 14 chicks. Come on. Look, I'm married, okay? As a married guy, I can tell you most married guys sleep with 14 women who all look like uglier versions of their wife. Seriously, It's true. Dude, does Tiger have a type or what? Holy God. It's like he just went, you know what? I need to bang a bunch of chicks that sort of look like my wife, because I don't think adultery is going to hurt her enough. I need her to realize that I'm attracted to women that look like her in a funhouse mirror. That's what I need to do. Jesus Christ, dude. Are you kidding me? The worst thing is, I think the biggest irony is that the greatest golfer in the world has now ruined the single greatest adultery cover story for all cheating men. Hey, honey, I'm going golfing this weekend. Hell, not anymore, friend. I love the fact that he ruined that, but people think he ruined it, but I think he's growing the game on a grassroots level, because now men get back to golfing. When they say they're golfing, they're not off banging a chick. They really have to go golfing now. See, even when he thinks he hurts the game, Tiger helps the game, goddammit. I love the fact that he actually had to go to Sweden this week. You see, he's going to Sweden supposedly with the wife to try to work things out and avoid media scrutiny. Yeah, good luck avoiding scrutiny when you're the only black guy in the country. Yeah, that's going to work out. You get off the plane with him. I'm a dick, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a decent guy, because I am a jerk. And I'm not a jerk. Man, I'm an awful guy. I'm not an awful guy. I am not a good guy. But I don't think I'm a bad person overall. So, and go ahead and by all means judge that. kind of a jagoff. I got the future. What am I talking about? But I am a jagoff. And I'm not a jerk. I'm a nice guy. It's just I guess I have jerky tendencies. I've done so much ridiculous stuff, and then I wonder afterwards, I'm like, man, how come I don't hang out with anybody? Here's why, because you're a dick. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished.